Swimmers, take your mark.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to On Deck with Florida Swim Network, the only swim show here in Florida that covers everything with open water, swimming, water polo, diving, all of that. I'm here with David Van Buskirk and Coach Sid Cassidy.
And this year, we're ready to now get the high school season officially underway. People are starting to show up. Practice is starting. Guys, guess what?
I mean, August 3rd is the first official day. I think everybody in the next week or so is going to be in the water. And
it seems like they're moving it up more and more. I mean, early August, are you crazy?
Speaking of August, I just want to say I'm glad August is here. I'm glad we're done with July. Holy cow.
Very hot.
Not only hot, but look at all the championships that
they
we
were all
had.
Stacked up.
Yeah, but now we have all our best swimmers out in San Antonio, swimming in the Junior Nationals. The Senior Nationals coming right up. And we'll see an end to this championship season and be right into our high school rolls.
That's great stuff. Now listen, we normally do a segment. It's called Ask a Coach. So we're going to ask Coach Sid Cassidy a question. All right, Sid, here you go. This is from Sam at BCH. My 11-year-old daughter swims 6 days a week on her junior Olympic team. Her goal is to earn a scholarship and swim in college and hopefully make it to the Olympics. Wouldn't we all love that? Okay? She would like to know what's the best dryland exercises and are the exercises that can help her improve on diving and starts off the block.
Well, certainly, Sam, any 11-year-old dreaming of the Olympics is a wonderful thing. It's also important not to put too much pressure on that 11-year-old. It's important for her to communicate with her coach within the confines of what her group and the team is doing. Good exercises, strengthening body exercises to improve your leg strength. I mean, we've always used, lunges and a lot of things as jumps. A lot of the things that aren't 11-year-olds, it's not going to be something, you're not getting them in the weight room, and putting them on the power rack. It's also important to keep fun a big part of your program. So if the coaches can maybe do some dry lands, they could be out playing Frisbee or playing soccer or just getting runs in or doing things that a normal 11-year-old would do to strengthen her legs. That's one aspect. Another one is quickness and agility drills.
That's a big part. We do a lot of things, jumping off a curb, over line, stuff like that, just to keep the speed going.
Yep. And any age can do that without any worries about injury or anything like that. So it's a very good question, and dry land is important, that everybody's on the same page. Parents, coaches, and swimmers, of course.
And now they're starting, back when I swam, there really wasn't a lot of dry land for the little kids, but now they're saying, hey, let's do dry land for the little guys.
Well, you look at overall in this country, there's the obesity program, the anti-obesity in the schools, and people are starting to look. The NFL does that 60-minute thing. We are at the leading edge of that curve in swimming. We have always preached the fitness to the young ones, and I think getting them out of the pool is great for their heads too. It's just a very good thing to do to include some dry land, and no matter what age.
Yeah, it's a great stuff, and I know that when I used to coach, I would wear them out for 30 minutes, totally wear them out, high heart rate, blow them out of the water. So crazy stuff. All right, I guess we're ready for the show. You guys ready for the show?
That's right. Speaking of coaching and making it fun, we're going to have Coach Mike Curley from Lake Highland Prep, and he's going to talk about not only this season, but what's coming up for the next season.
Well, we're thrilled to have Mike Curley. He's one of the legends in Florida coaching, and I have the privilege to be a colleague of his. Boy, he's got a heck of a team coming up, man, and a heck of a team he had last year as well.
That's right.
Yeah, they are tough. I coached with him in the 90s, and man, it's a tough program for those kids. Well, I'll tell you what, when we come back, we're going to have Caitlin Freeling, former Florida Gator swimmer, tell us about high school, college recruiting. See you then.
Freestyle is a rapid swimming stroke consisting of alternating overarm strokes and a flutter kick, also known as the crawl.
There's people who care where I'm going, and good friends who welcome me home. So get a full tank of freedom, drive the American road. And with a full tank of freedom, find your own highway. We'll take you wherever you go. Take you wherever you go.
I'm Caleb Dressel, and you can follow me on deck with Florida Swim Network.
Hey guys, Caitlin Freeling here, and I'm here to introduce you to your female athletes that will be moving on and heading off to college this season. Let's start with the Tampa, St. Pete, and Sarasota area. First off, we have Michelle Turek, who will be heading off to Auburn. Michelle is a very strong freestyler, especially with her 200 free and her 100 free. Next up, we have Summer Fink, who will be heading off to FSU. Summer Fink is a very strong distance swimmer that has been around for a very long time. I actually swam on her club team with her at St. Petersburg Aquatics. Sophie Cattermole is heading out to Louisville. Sophie is a 2-time state champion in both the 500 free and the 200 free. Lexi Atchison is heading off to Duke, who is also a 2-time state champion in a different class in the 500 free and 200 free. Sydney Pickram is going over to Texas A&M. Sydney actually recently swam one of the fastest times in the world this year in the 200 breast. Now we're moving over to the Orlando area. Katie Duggan is going up to Michigan. Katie is the state champion in the 500 free. And now we're heading to Jacksonville. Casey Schmidt is going to Virginia. Casey is a very strong 50 freestyler, sub 22. And finishing off with South Florida. Megan Maroney is going off to Virginia. Megan is an all-around swimmer. She can swim everything, very quick, and she's also a state champion. Good luck to all you ladies. Have fun, be safe, and swim fast.
Hi, I'm Gary Hall Sr., and welcome to the Race Club Minute. Breaststroke is one of the most difficult strokes to master, and it depends greatly on the strength of the kick. And this week, we're going to share with you a great drill to help strengthen your kick, not by strengthening your legs, but by showing you how to use your upper body and your head, elevating the neck and snapping the body and head down to produce a stronger kick. No other stroke is more dependent on the kick than the breaststroke. But there's a way to derive more power from your kick by using your upper body. The flutter kick breaststroke drill teaches this motion better than any other drill. Olympic champion Rebecca Soni shows us how the sustained rhythm and power of the flutter kick is conducive to getting a higher elevation of the upper body that leads to a more powerful breaststroke kick. The angular momentum of the upper body moving forward, coupled with the force of the kick, results in a more powerful kick. The force of the two motions together is greater than the sum of the two alone. This is called synergy. Many breaststrokers of all ages try to get too much power from their underwater pull. They pull too widely, they pull too far back under their body, and then they delay the hands and arms too long in recovering them back to the front during the strike phase. Flutter kick breaststroke drill helps put the emphasis on the kick, not on the pull.
Welcome back to On Deck with Florida Swim Network, and we are joined by the head swim coach, Mike Curley from Lake Highland Prep. And interesting year last year, my friend.
It was a very interesting year. First off, thank you very much for having me. Yeah, we had a very good year last year. Girls finished, I believe, 4th, just behind Sid's team. And the boy.
Well, let's talk about that girls' meet in a minute, Mike, because Mike is one of the most respected coaches, as you both know, in the state of Florida. And I've watched him for the last decade. And every year, you're going to see them at the state championships, boys and girls. One of the
Very
most
prepared
balanced teams. Always ready. The kids swim fast. They drop times. We certainly didn't deserve to be third because it was a relay DQ right at the end of the meet.
Yes.
Of course, that's part of the meet. And I know, where we were, certainly, and both of us right behind Jay Fitzgerald, the second, third, and fourth teams. None of us were really ready to beat Bulls yet, but, it's always a dogfight, and you guys are always at the top. Now, your girls, tell us about them. You had a great group last year.
We had a great group, and they were led by senior Katie Duggan. She's a signee with the University of Michigan. And she's swimming with us this summer and heads up there, I think early September or something like that. But losing Kate is going to be a big, big deal. We do have some girls that are going to take place and step up and hopefully take her place on relays. I don't know if anybody will be quite as great as she is in the 500 free, but It's not going to be for lack of training. I'll tell you
Olympic,
that.
Olympic trial qualifier. I mean,
Yep, she does Olympic trials, and hopefully, if she gets her, mind right here at this weekend, she might make the 200 back in the 400 free as well.
but you got Abby and Carly, and I mean,
And you got
We
a
do.
secret weapon, somebody coming in who was here last year.
Secret weapon, yeah. No, but Abby comes back, and she'll be a sophomore next year. We got Carly Lowe. She was the 200 IM state champion
Correct.
last year by a couple 100s. And we do have a young lady that sat out last year. Her name is Paige Hamilton, and she transferred from the Winter Park area. And she's 54.8 in the 100 fly last year, 23.4, 23.3 in the 50 free.
So let's talk a little bit about your girls relay team. How is everybody looking for your relays? I know last year you had a pretty good year. For the women's, you ended up finishing 4th. So relay-wise, what are we looking for?
Gosh, our relays it's always really competitive, Everybody wants to be on the relays because normally they become All-American at the end of the year. If we swim well enough in the relays and Coach Curley doesn't do something silly on the relay card or something like that, then they end up getting medals as well, competing with Jay's team, competing with Bowles, and of course your team as well. But our relays should be really, really strong. Katie was a big horse on the relays,
Yep.
But I think Paige will step in the sprint relays and really help us out.
Well, one thing we know from South Florida, your relays will always be ready. Now, your boys team, my gosh, last year, they were only a couple of points right out of that runner-up
2 points.
trophy.
2 points
That's right.
out of second
Finished
place.
third.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. And you had a great year. I know you lost some, but you got it. Good
We
group.
lost a senior that's going to swim at Allegheny College, Matt Nardozzi, and we lost a senior going to George Washington and Josh Monticelli. And hopefully the younger kids, maybe even my son, who is a 9th grader next year, can help us out on the relays, Hayden. And Isaac Jacobs, who was an 8th grader last year, if he continues to grow and continues to, train the way he did this summer, doing a super job, I think Isaac will really help us out on the relays. But our boys team's going to be really solid, probably led by Calvin Lillo. He'll be a senior this year. And Calvin will be a good leader for us, and I expect good things out of the 200 IM and 100 back out of him.
Looks like you've got a lot of senior leadership this year coming in. I think 3 of your top swimmers are coming in. They're going to be seniors. So you're probably going to have a good discipline there for leadership to help go into the season.
We do. There's another young man that just keeps quietly behind the scenes named Andrew DuPont. And Andrew goes away in the summer and works on their horse farm out in Lexington. But he continually just kind of shows up and eases into it. This March, he went 4:34 in the 500 freestyle.
Wow.
And he has never swum the 500 freestyle for us at the state meet.
Wow.
So maybe if I can continue to
Well, working
push
with
a
those
little bit.
horses must strengthen him up a little
Yeah, his
bit.
mom's got him out there baling hay all the time. He's stronger than an
And
ox.
we talked about that last week with Charlie Rose. Of course, he's from your area, in the Orlando area. And we talked a little bit about how swimmers needed a mental break now and then to just kind of get away. And when you look at the season that we've had, certainly all those crazy meets, as you're going into, the first couple weeks of August, the middle of August, what do you do with those top line swimmers?
That's a great question. I think it really depends on the kids. And there's certain kids 2 or 3 years ago, the Sean Duggins of the world, Harrison Curley, Suzanne Bassir, you can give them 2 or 3 days, and that's all they really needed. But I don't know if it's today's kids, today's parents, today's families, today's society. But now it seems like we need to give them a little bit more of a break so that they're fresh and ready to go. So when we finish our end of the year meet at the Futures meet, or Katie's going to San Antonio, we're going to give them 10 days off. And we won't start until our first day of school, which is August 12th.
Now, Coach, last year for your relay teams, your boys, 200 free and your 400 free, you ended up finishing 3rd.
Yes.
What are your relays looking like for the boys this year?
Well, losing Josh is going to be
Correct.
a big deal. There was another young man on our team that was really a football player, got injured, and then started swimming with us about 2 years ago, Evan McDonough. And he kind of blossomed at the end of the year, was 21-2 on the relay and 46-6 are in our 400 free. But we're hoping, as I said, that maybe our younger kids, Isaac Jacobs, Hayden Curley, if we can get them able to do a pull-up or something like get a little stronger, maybe we can get Hayden to break 22 seconds in the 50 free.
Well, speaking of your men's team and the strength that's involved, let's not forget, I always keep Dave on track with diving. You have a great diver, works right here in the big house.
She does. The big house welcomes Emma Whitner. She'll be, I believe, a junior next year.
And certainly you're at a benefit when you have somebody like that who can come through. Do you also get walk-on divers, kids that just are learning the sport?
Last year, a young lady started in the middle of the year, and she was a gymnast, sort of like the young lady Brittany Viola.
Oh, yeah.
Frank's daughter. We ended up making the Olympic team.
Oh, wow.
Where we
Another
found her,
hurricane.
We found, yeah.
Did pretty well.
We found her in PE class. You know, she's
Wow.
goofing off on the diving boards, and we were like,
kidding me?
why don't you? That's how we found Brittany.
Oh, my gosh.
But this young lady, last year in PE class, we were like, hey, maybe you should start diving. Okay, where do I learn how to do this? I used to be a gymnast. Why don't you go down, call Mark down at iDrive, made a phone call. She started diving. From what I hear, we might have 2 very good divers.
So let's move on to our next segment. We've got a Healthy Minute by Dr. Brad Burkhart. Let's take a look.
Hey, Dr. Brad Burkhart here again with your Healthy Minute. Today we're going to talk about foot and ankle. So for you swimmers out there, you're doing 500 flip turns a day and pushing off the wall and kicking and turning and moving, and sometimes you might slip on the deck for all I know. People come in with ankle pain, foot pain, and they think, why is this still bothering me? What is going on with my foot? Why is my ankle hurt? Every time I push off the wall, the back of my ankle hurts. Every time I push off the wall, my foot hurts. Well, when you're doing those flip turns and you're flipping on the wall and you're doing a push against the wall, it can cause inflammation in your foot and ankle. And that can lead to tendonitis. And the treatment for that is often just resting, ice, sometimes elevating, and sometimes some anti-inflammatory medication. Occasionally we have to do some physical therapy. So if it's giving you trouble and it's hurting you a lot, then you need to come in, you gotta get it checked out. And usually we can get people better without any type of surgery.
This episode of On Deck with Florida Swim Network is brought to you by The Aquatic Shop.
We'll be right back with On Deck.
Welcome back to On Deck with Florida Swim Network. I had a chance to sit down with Ryan Gober of Greater Tampa earlier, and this is what he had to say.
So, Ryan, I'm dying to know, before we start talking about swimming, how in the world did you end up in swimming from the golf capital of the world, Augusta?
I started on a summer league team. I still play golf. I play golf plenty. I do that as much as I can when I'm not on the pool deck. It's a big thing in my family. A lot of my family's done it, plus, like you said, golf capital of the world. But I started on a summer league swim team. It was just a neighborhood thing. All the neighborhoods in Augusta, the CSRA in the Augusta area has a great summer league program, and it does a fantastic job getting kids involved in the sport in the summer. You know, one neighborhood swims another neighborhood, and it lasts for a couple weeks, and then there's a championship, and you move up and down leagues, kind of like the European soccer leagues. If you lose, you move down a league. If you win, you move up a league. And so I did that for a few years when I was 6, 7, and 8. And really enjoyed it. And by the time I was 8 or 9, I decided that swimming was something I wanted to do more competitively, and joined at that time Augusta Swim League and swam with them.
How much has swim changed since when you were swimming back in Augusta to where you see kids today, not only at the club level, but also since you're at UT, at the college level as well?
For me, in my experience as a club swimmer, I don't have the same background as a lot of people with the large yardage clubs that a lot of kids growing up my age swam. For my club was very small yardage, a lot of technique based, which is where I think I get a lot of what I do in my club coaching, and then carry it into our college coaching as well. So for me, it's not that different. I've always swam kind of a race-based program and technique and things like that. The amount of things we can use to help advance the technique has changed a lot. The video analysis, the tools, the different toys you can use to make it exciting while you do those things has advanced tons. We used to watch a video and go get in and do it, but never really watch ourselves. Now you can watch somebody else do it and watch yourself do it, and that really has changed a lot. But for me, other than that, it's kind of the same. I try to base a lot of what I do with my 11 to 13-year-olds on what I did growing up, the technique-based stuff that we did, the swimming at race pace. And then we do a lot of that at the University of Tampa as well. Ed probably has no idea what yardage we do on a day-to-day basis, mostly because there's multiple different groups going on, but because it's not about that. We break swimming down into a stroke, a turn, a finish, how many strokes you take and how fast you take them. And it's really that simple for us. It doesn't matter, why swim 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 yards when a majority of our kids are going 200 frees and below, or 200 stroke races and below that are going to last 2 minutes. We just find it kind of unnecessary and overtraining. So we really try to break it down. We probably are on the blocks more than most clubs and colleges in the country. breaking down the first 15 meters, the first 12 and a half yards. Same with the turns. We're doing a lot of time stuff in the turn area, same in the finishes. We have our relay touchpad things that we're getting out and working on our relay takeoffs, all that kind of thing. And it pays off. I mean, we swam really good relays at the University of Tampa this year, and we think that breaking down those small things really helps.
How did you get involved in Greater Tampa, the age group club?
We did kind of similar. I started with the UT and then also on the side started doing GTSA. And GTSA has changed a lot since I started. I started 6-7 years ago, and we were a real small team that kind of swam after the university program, and it was almost an afterthought. And it's been kind of my goal to build that program as we went and start with younger kids and build them to be now 15 and 16 that they are now, and even our 11, 12s and 13, 14-year-olds that are swimming really well. And we just joined forces this past fall with South Tampa Aquatic Team and became one program. And we're now all of a sudden a 250 kid club. Wow. That has coaches at all different levels, and we're trying to do the best we can for each of those kids and everybody's different goals. I mean, we have some kids that want to make Olympic trials or want to win flags and things like that, but we also have younger kids that just want to have something to do and want to swim, and we're trying to have a service for all those kids.
How much in looking at not only age group, but I'm sure it's probably not as big in the college level, how much are the swimmers now looking to look at that swimsuit to say that's going to be the difference maker?
It actually is, I think, bigger in our college. Our club kids, my club kids, I think they're ready to swim fast whenever they want, and they feel like they can. A lot of our college kids, I don't know if it's maybe something they've learned at home or whatever the case may be, but they come in and think they only swim fast when we put a rest on it and when we put a suit on. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think you can, the suit helps, I get it, but I think that you can swim fast without the suit. I do think it affects some girls, some muscular bound girls especially, that more happens in our college, and it does help them a little bit. But I think especially when it comes to guys, I think you can swim with or without the suit. But I think it actually is more of an issue as they get older. They think that they need to put the suit on to swim fast.
Two-factor question. What was your best moment in swimming as a swimmer?
I think probably for me it was, I swam for a little bit of a smaller team. So when I was a sophomore and junior in high school, I swam for the Georgia Zone team, and we won those 2 years. The atmosphere of winning those two things as a team and as with people that I didn't necessarily know before that week, but becoming close with them, I still see some of those people on the deck occasionally that are coaching in other parts of the country. And even though we didn't necessarily swim together growing up, we're still good friends just from that week we spent together, and enjoy each other's company and talk to each other and share stories about that week. And I think that those 2 weeks are really things that I'll never forget.
Okay, let's flip the coin. Let's talk about greatest moment as a coach.
We just recently made our first Olympic trial cut as a team since I've been the coach at GTSA, and I'd have to say that was probably it.
Well, man, thank you very much, Ryan.
No problem. Thank you.
This week's highlight swimmer is Austin Katz from Riverview and Sarasota Sharks.
Welcome back to On Deck. Now it's time for Rapid Fire. This is where we ask a question of Coach Curley.
All right, Coach Curley, I got one for you. If we had to make any change to the rules of high school swimming, what would you change?
And they're not watching.
They're not watching. You know what I think would be really great for the sport? Co-ed relays. I think co-ed relays would be really neat. 2 boys on the team, 2 girls on the team. Maybe even have an A and a B.
A and a B.
An A
Okay.
and a B relay, and score for both squads.
Well, you know, they've done that in international competition already. They just did it in Kazan at World Championships for FINA.
And they love it, right?
And they actually had that meet last year or the year before where it came down to a tiebreaker. Remember the duel in the pool?
Yes.
And it came down to a
Wow.
co-ed relay. They had written that into the contract with the Europeans, and it was fantastic. And luckily, USA won that. But it is an exciting type of event. Where would you put your swimmers, male and female, and what strokes?
I'd have to give that some thought, and I'm
I've
sure
given
that
it
you're
some
probably
thought.
you've given it some thought. Huh?
I would definitely put my males in the slower strokes, breaststroke for sure.
Got to.
Because,
Yeah.
you know, they're going to be quicker, and you don't want to put your female in the slowest stroke, give up the most time. But, boy, it's nice when you can have a
Well, if
strong
I have
guy
no
that is-
boy breaststrokers, then I'm going to have to go with one of my girls in the breaststroke.
Well, when Mike and I used to coach together, we'd play run and hide. Get out as fast as you can,
That's right.
and just
That's right.
hang on, baby.
Well, our saying was, the only thing you get by going out slow was disappointed.
That's awesome.
So now when you guys swam together, right, and you challenged each other, who would usually get the better side of that?
What do you mean? Oh, and
When
He
you
was
would
a
race.
Gator. He was winning national championships. I was out in the cornfields in Iowa, and he was
he's a year or two older than me.
several.
Look how young he is. I figured he's right up
He
your
looks
alley,
great.
Joe.
He looks great. Well, anyway, Mike, thanks for joining us on this
Joe,
show.
really, thanks for having us.
Great stuff. And from all of us here at Florida Swim Network, we'll see you next time on deck.